So today we're upgrading the ignition system on my GL1100. We're doing the Dodge Neon ignition system upgrade. So what that means is taking the ignition coil from a car, from a 4-cylinder car, and we're applying it to this 4-cylinder motorcycle. In this particular example, my bike is a GL1100. This is going to vary for GL1000s and GL1200s slightly from what we're doing here. This only works on GL1100s as described in this video. I will include a link in the description of this video to the forums on which you can find information on how to do this for other model Goldwings. Now, most people use a Dodge Neon ignition coil for this application, but I just happen to have a Mini Cooper ignition coil from a previous project sitting around, and it, from what I can tell, is exactly the same as a Dodge Neon coil, so I'm going to use it on my bike. Now, this is supposed to be a great ignition coil upgrade because these ignition coils are available cheaply. You can even go to a junkyard and get them if you want to be even cheaper, but buying them new, they're fairly inexpensive. And also on my particular bike, this is a custom chopper bobber build, so things aren't going to look exactly the same. They're not going to be placed in exactly the same that they would be on your bike. Even on a stock bike, you're going to have to come up with a new mount. You're going to have to make some sort of new mount in order to mount the new ignition coil because it's different. It has different mounting holes than the stock one. So if you're interested in doing this particular job, this video will show you in pretty good detail what's involved in it. So let's take a look how I did it. So basically we're swapping from the stock ignition coils to, in this case, Mini Cooper ignition coils. This should be the same as Dodge Neon ignition coils, which is a more common swap. On this coil, there is this type of connector right here. And so this you can buy separately. This is like $10 to get this connection. And then the coil you can find at a junkyard for like another $10. You need to buy wires, so that's another probably 20 bucks for wires. But for around $40 or $50 you can do this swap. So our ignition coil here is labeled in terms of which spark plugs it's supposed to go to. So there's a 1 here, a 4 here for cylinder 1, cylinder 4. So we need to relabel these for our application on the Goldwing. Number 1 here, this becomes 2. 4 becomes 1, 2 becomes 4, and 3 stays 3. So your connection point is like so, with it going off to the right. On the same side as the connection point, you've got cylinder 1 and 3. And then on the other side, you've got cylinder 2 and cylinder 4. That's how it should fire on the actual Goldwing. To wire the connection here, looking at the stock ignition, you've got a black wire, a yellow wire, and a blue wire. On your new setup, you've got, depending on what you get here for your connection, the coloring on this could be different. So we're just going to go by, if we orient it this way so that the connection point is on top, and look at this wiring. So when wiring in this new connection, the black wire from the stock bike goes to the center wire on the new connection. And then the yellow wire from the stock bike goes to this wire just to the right of it on the new connection. And the blue wire from the stock bike goes to the connection on the left of the black wire. So using the color from the stock bike, you have the yellow wire first, the black wire in the middle, and the blue wire last. So yellow, black, blue. And the way I'm going to do it, some people cut this connection off and use this connector here and just solder in or connect in these wires to this guy. I am going to do it slightly different. I've got a little kit of connectors. These are the same style connectors. They're 2.3 millimeter connector kit this will line up and connect directly into the wires on the bike, on the stock bike. So if you look at the connection on the bike itself, it's this guy right here. You can see the wire colors in there. We've got yellow, blue, and the black with a white stripe on it. And then here's the connection there. It's got the 3 little prongs on the inside. This is the new connector from my little kit. I'm going to use this, and I'm actually going to wire in wire the new connector to this connector, and then I'll be able to plug this in. I'll be able to plug that in directly to the stock wiring harness, just like that. On the stock bike wire loom, this connection here, it has some male prongs on the inside here for the connection. So on our new connection that we're making to this guy from the ignition coil, we're gonna wire in on here some female connections. So to do that, I'm gonna start with some wire strippers. We're gonna strip off these wires here. So I'll start with this center one right here, this black colored, dark colored one. And then out of my kit, I'm gonna grab a little female, 2.3 millimeter female connector here, and we'll crimp that on to this guy. So it's like so, and then we'll do that with the rest of these. All right, so now we've got all three of the connectors on here, and it's just a matter of putting them into this little connector housing here. In order to do that, we need to know how these orient, because you see there's 4 holes in there, and the pattern, which one goes where, is important. So we need to figure out, look at the stock wiring harness and see which one is yellow, which one's blue, which one is black, and put these in the correspondingly correct holes on this connection house. All right, so I take my new connector housing here, and I actually connect this to the old connector like that. Put it in there. It's a lot easier. Then I can just line these up and jam the new wires in. So the black one is right here, and then so that corresponds to this guy right here. So I'm just gonna line this guy up like so, and I'm gonna take my center wire on this connector and connect it into this top corner here. And then this one, this is the wire that is off to the right on this connector. If we orient it this way, the wire to the right this should go to the yellow wire. So my yellow wire on the stock connection is this hole right over there on the far right corner. So this guy can go in there like that. And then my last wire goes in this bottom one over here on the left. There it is, all wired up. That's how it should be. So this is my wiring connection. And now I can go ahead and connect this guy into the stock wire harness, and it's nice and neat, almost like it was supposed to be there. And then I can connect this guy to my actual ignition coil. Alright, so in order to do the rest of the swap, it basically just involves spark plug wires. So the options here are you can buy pre-made spark plug wires and basically be done. One other consideration is the resistance. So on the stock Goldwing, there's about 10,000 ohms of resistance, because they have both 5,000 ohm resistant spark plug caps, these guys here, and they have spark plug that have another 5,000 resistance on them. You only need that much if you're going to run a radio, because that resistance is there in order to allow you to receive radio channels on the stock Goldwing. Otherwise you'll get static interference on the radio. What I'm doing is just 5,000 resistance on the spark plug caps. I've got new ones here, and these are the ones that I'm using. So XD 5,000 ohm resistant plugs. They should be pretty much exactly like these guys here. These are the stock ones, or the ones that came off the bike. I am rewiring mine with new resistance caps because I tested these and they weren't producing 5,000 ohms of resistance. They was down around 2,000. So the way I'm doing mine is I'm making my own spark plug wires. So to do that, this guy comes out, and I'm going to replace these guys in here. So I'll have this nice little cover when I'm done. And so in order to get these guys out, I'm just going to spray. I'm going to take the little cap off the bottom first, and then I'm going to spray some soap water mixture around where the rubber meets the cap. And then that can help lubricate that thing and make it, and then pull that one out, and then the new one going in. We'll put it in the same way we took the other one out. like so, and then put the little cap on the bottom. So go ahead and throw these guys on here. It's this end. This end goes down onto the spark plugs, like so. From here, I'm going to make the spark plug wires that go from here to my coil. So I'm going to take the new coil and place it up on the engine. Roughly the position it's going to mount on the bike, and then from here, I'm going to read my numbers here. So the number 1 cylinder is on this far corner. I'm going to have to run the spark plug wire from here over to this side to the engine. Because cylinder number 1 is right here on the right side of the engine. It's the first cylinder on the right side of the engine. So that's cylinder 1, this is cylinder 3, and the other side it's cylinder 2 and cylinder 4. Alright, and these spark plug caps, they're a screw-in style cap. So you can see there's a little screw where the spark plug wire threads onto that screw. I'm literally going to take this guy here, my spark plug wire, and I'm going to stick it on here and just thread it on, screw it on to this cap. And then from here, we'll be able to run the spark plug wire up to where it needs to go on the ignition coil, and then we'll cut it and we'll finish the wiring to connect to the ignition coil. So I'm going to take my spark plug wire, I'm going to put my little spark plug wire cap on here, or this little boot. I'm going to put my little boot on there, and then this boot comes with the spark plug cap. And so threading my boot onto the spark plug wire, and then I'm going to screw my wire onto my number 1 piston cap. And then when I've got it screwed on there as far as I can get it, I should feel some decent resistance where I can't really screw it on anymore. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my boot and move my boot down over the cap here. I'm going to need the assistance of a little screwdriver to make this dream come true. I'm going to thread my wire up here underneath the frame between the 2 carburetors here, and then my coil lives up here. This is a custom application, so it's not going to be like this on a stock bike at all. My number 1 coil connection is up here on the further side, so I need my wire to be approximately that long. I'll give it a little bit of extra so it has some room in here to move around. So I'll go ahead and I'll cut it right here. Alright, here's my wire, custom length wire. Now I need to make my connection on this end. So in order to do that, I've got these crimpers right here, wire strippers. And so put this guy in here. Cut off a little bit of extra stuff here. I have got connectors here. So in this application, I want the angle connector. So this guy here, the little angle connector, you can see how it connects in that way. In order to get this on, I'm actually going to fold this wire bit over, back onto itself like that, and then slide this guy on here. Alright, so then I've got it in here so that the wire is all the way up to just a little bit past where the crimper is. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp this down with my crimpers here. I'm going to set it up like this. I'm going to use this guy here with a little spike on the back, and I'm going to stab this crimper right in the back. So I've got the rolled part is going down on the bottom like that, and then we'll stab them right in the back with this little spike. And there it is. And now it's got the little stab mark in the back right here. See that? And then it's on there nice and tight now. Our next part is to get this guy on there. So I'm going to take a little bit of dielectric grease. I'm going to use this to make my life a little bit easier. And just put a little bit around this guy and around my little opening here. Try and slide this guy on here a little bit easier. Just jam him in here like so until it goes and hits that back wall there, where you can see him in there like that. 1-hole spark plug wire, done. Now we'll finish the next one. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this video was helpful. If you're thinking about doing this upgrade yourself, I'm going to include in the description of this video a link to the parts that I use on my application here, as well as a link to the forums on which I got the information on how to do this upgrade. So see you next time. Keep on wrenching.